You were never supposed to survive. They didn't just doubt you, they counted you out, buried you in silence, laughed at your attempts, mocked your voice. Every breath you took, they took as a joke. Every move you made, they watched with grins, waiting for you to trip. And when you fell, oh, they celebrated. They danced on your setbacks. They cheered for your pain. Because to them, you were never the hero of the story. You were background noise, a mistake, a failed idea. But let's get this straight right now. You let it happen. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't deflect it. You gave them power. You handed your strength to cowards who never deserved your fear. You shrunk your light to keep their weak eyes comfortable. You silenced your roar so their whispers wouldn't feel small. And for what? For their validation? For crumbs of acceptance? For people who would spit on your grave if you collapsed today? Wake up. This is war. This isn't a self-help seminar. This isn't morning coffee and soft piano music. This is a battlefield, and you're getting slaughtered by your own hesitation. You've been walking around like you've got time, like you can wait, like one day, magically, you'll wake up different. You won't. Change doesn't come with the sun. Change comes with fire, and you haven't lit the match yet. You keep saying they beat me. But what really happened? You let the world convince you that you're not enough. You let failure become your identity instead of your lesson. You let comfort poison your potential. You surrendered before you ever fought. But here's the thing. God watched. God saw them laugh. God saw the knives in their hands when they hugged you. God saw how they tried to break you, not once, but over and over. And while you were busy trying to find your worth in their eyes, God was crafting a storm. Not a gentle breeze, a thunderclap. You are the thunder. You don't rise with whispers. You rise like a dam explosion. But only if you get off your knees. Only if you stop crying to the heavens while standing in quicksand you chose. You are not a victim anymore, you are a weapon in the making. Every bruise they gave you, armor. Every betrayal, ammo. Every failure, a bullet chambered and ready. You've got a choice. Let them keep swinging while you stay curled on the ground, or get up swinging harder, louder, stronger. You don't owe them silence anymore. You don't owe them nice. You owe them one thing. The sight of your rise, and trust me, they won't be smiling then. The problem isn't that life hit you too hard. The problem is, you didn't hit back. You curled in. You shut down. You whispered, maybe I'm not meant for more. Are you hearing yourself? You weren't meant to survive their hate. You were meant to rise from it, louder than bombs, bigger than pain. God didn't leave you in the dirt. He let you marinate in silence so your roar would be unforgettable. So here's the deal. You don't get to stay soft, not anymore. This world is chewing people alive. If you don't become the storm, you'll drown in someone else's. You think you felt pain? Good, use it. Let it fuel you until every excuse you've ever made gets burned in your wake. They thought they buried you. They didn't know you were a damn landmine. Boom. Now get ready. Because the next part, we're going deeper. We're about to rip the mask off the lies you've been feeding yourself. You've been lied to, not by the world, not by your enemies, by yourself. Let's stop pretending like your downfall came from some outside force. The truth is brutal. You've been feeding yourself poison. You said, I'm trying. No, you're not. You're dabbling. You're dancing with effort, but sleeping, with excuses. You put in 30% and expect 100% returns. You show up once and cry when the world doesn't clap. You said, maybe it's not meant for me. Who told you that? What fragile voice crept into your head and convinced you that struggle equals a sign to quit? That failure means God closed the door? God didn't close the door. You did. You locked it from the inside and blamed him because you didn't want to face your own cowardice. You said, I don't have time. Bull, you have time. You scroll for hours. You overthink for days. You live in your mind like it's a damn prison, pacing back and forth behind bars you built. Time isn't your issue. Discipline is. Let's talk about that fake humility you wear like a shield. You say, I don't want to be too loud, I don't want to seem arrogant. But the truth? You're scared of failure. You're scared that if you go all in and fall short, there'll be no one to blame but you. So instead, you half commit. You keep one foot in safety and call it strategy. It's fear, dressed up, perfumed, pretending to be wisdom. You've told yourself 1,000 lies and believed them like gospel. That you need permission to start. That you need support to succeed. That you need the world to validate your path. You don't. You need guts. You need grit. And you need to kill the version of yourself that keeps crying for comfort like a child begging for candy. Let's expose another lie. That person has it easier than me. Really? You think success is about luck? You think those who rise don't bleed, don't cry, don't get crushed and claw their way out of hell? The difference isn't their situation, it's their response. They went to war. You went to sleep. They used pain as fuel. You used it as a pillow. Let's get this clear once and for all. You're not special in your suffering. You're not the only one who's been through heartbreak. You're not the only one who's broken, and forgotten. You're just the only one still making it an excuse. They moved. You froze. But here's where it changes. If you're brave enough to admit it, admit that you've been soft. Admit that you've been passive. Admit that deep down, you've been living a lie. You say, I'm waiting for the right moment. The right moment. You've already wasted years waiting for a green light that's never coming. This isn't a stoplight. This is survival. Move or get eaten. Let me say this loud and clear. You will never be ready. Not when it matters. Not when it's time. Not when you're called to rise. Readiness is a myth. Action is real. Do it scared. Do it unsure. Do it bleeding, shaking, and broken. But do it. Stop looking for signs in the sky when the war is raging, on the ground. Here's the hardest truth you'll ever hear. The enemy isn't out there. The enemy is you. Your own thoughts, your own stories, your own fears wrapped in pretty little bows of logic and planning and maybe later. Later is dead. There is no later. There is no better time. There is no perfect day where fear vanishes and confidence magically appears. There's only one thing left, the kill switch, the decision to slaughter every excuse, to drown every lie, to become so disgusted with your comfort zone that you burn it to the ground with your bare hands. You want success? Then kill the liar inside. You, the one who says you're not ready, the one who whispers, you can't. The one who bends at every ounce of pressure like a twig in the wind. That voice, that's the one you need to exile. Ban it. Break it. Bury it. Because until that voice dies, you will never live. Let this sink in. They didn't beat you with their words. You beat you with your beliefs. And now it's time to flip the script. From I can't to try me. From I don't know how to watch me figure it out. From what if I fail to what if I become unstoppable? Because you can. And deep down you've always known it, you just didn't want to suffer for it. But guess what? You suffer either way. You suffer staying stuck. You suffer chasing growth. So if pain is inevitable, choose the one that gives you power. Enough with the lies. Enough with the chains. You've heard your excuses for long enough. It's time to shut them down. This is your breaking point. Not the kind that ends you, the kind that builds you. Because next, we strip away the mask of comfort and drop the cold, hard truth. and truth doesn't care how it makes you feel. Here it is, the moment where all your illusions get ripped apart. No filters, no flattery, no fake inspiration, just the truth. And it's going to hurt, because truth doesn't hug you, it hits you. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no parent, no partner, no hero, no voice from the clouds. This world is not built to lift the weak. It's built to crush them. And right now, if you're waiting, if you're hoping, if you're still clinging to some fantasy that someone will swoop in and carry your burden, you're already losing. You want real? Here it is, you're broke. No one cares, you're heartbroken, they'll forget before you heal. You're tired. So is the world. You feel unseen? Good. That's what it feels like at the bottom. That's what it feels like before the rise. Because that's the rule of this brutal game. You don't get noticed until you build yourself into someone worth seeing. You've been handed pain? Perfect. Use it. Let it carve new muscle into your soul. Let it fuel you until your name echoes, louder than the silence that tried to drown you. Stop waiting for closure. Stop praying for permission. Stop thinking someone out there is assigned to fix you. This war is yours. Let's talk about failure. You're afraid of it, it paralyzes you. But let me hit you with a truth you'll hate. Failure isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Failure teaches. Comfort kills. The man who fails 1,000 times and keeps swinging, that's the one who breaks the system. But the one who hides in safe and calls it smart dies forgotten. And don't you dare say you've had it harder than most. Because what you call a curse, someone else made into a crown. Same pain, different response. That's the dividing line between the forgotten and the feared. You think the world owes you? The world doesn't owe you a damn thing. You breathe, you fight, you build. That's it. That's the game. You want a legacy? You want to walk into rooms and feel power pulsing through your veins? You want to turn heads not from vanity but from presence? Then listen to me. It starts with ownership. Everything wrong in your life? Yours. Every delay, every mistake, every missed shot? Yours. You own it, so you can kill it. Because until you take full control, you will always be a slave to the chaos around you. Let's talk about talent. You think talent matters? You think the gifted win? No. The obsessed win. The relentless win. The ones who show up when they're broken, tired, ignored, mocked. They're the ones who take the throne. You're not out of time. You're not too late. But you are running out of excuses. Every second you spend sulking is a second your enemy sharpens his blade. While you hesitate, someone else is outworking you. While you complain, someone is becoming unstoppable. And when you meet them on the battlefield of life, they won't pity you. They'll destroy you. This is not a game. This is not a fairy tale. This is war. A war against your mind, against your laziness, against your old self that wants to drag you back into the pit. And if you don't get violent with your excuses, they will suffocate you. Let me make something clear. Success doesn't go to the smartest. It goes to the one who's willing to bleed for it, to lose sleep, to bury pride, to suffer without applause until one day the silence breaks and the world is forced to notice. You want validation? Earn it. Not with words, not with dreams, with scars, with sacrifice, with consistency so brutal that it looks like madness to the weak. This journey, it's not about becoming liked. It's about becoming undeniable. They tried to beat you down, remember? They thought you were weak. They thought you were done. They saw your silence and thought it meant surrender. But silence was the storm before the strike. And now you stand at the edge of something bigger than pain. The decision. The moment where you stop flinching, stop justifying, stop hiding. This is your war cry. Because the raw truth is this: if you don't rise, if you don't fight, if you don't awaken the fire that's been smothered under years of playing small, you will be erased. The world doesn't remember the almosts, the I could have stories, the someday warriors. It only remembers the ones who broke their chains and became monsters of purpose. So what's it going to be? Keep hiding in softness? Or burn that weakness and forge yourself into something terrifying? Because the truth, it doesn't care about your feelings, it only respects your fight. And right now, you have one choice left. Rise, before the next section shoves you face first into what happens if you don't. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop acting like you've got all the time in the world, like you can coast, delay, and dance with your comfort zone, and still somehow arrive at greatness. No, that's the lie. And now we stare the consequence in the face. You know what happens when you don't act? You decay. Not physically at first, no. That comes later. The real death happens inside. It's slow, it's silent, it's soul deep. You begin to rot in the places you once dreamed. You trade ambition for distraction, fire for fear, clarity for comfort. And then, without warning, you wake up. 10 years older, 10 years colder, 10 years behind. Because weakness doesn't announce itself. It doesn't bang on your door. It whispers. It tempts. It tells you tomorrow. It feeds you poison in doses so small you barely taste it. Until your spine is gone and your life is nothing but regret. You want to know the real price of weakness? It's not failure, it's not embarrassment, it's mediocrity. A life of lukewarm everything. Relationships with no depth, work with no purpose, mornings with no fire, and nights filled with silent screaming, because deep down you know you were built for more. But you didn't move, you didn't rise, you let your softness become your prison. You waited, you watched, you wasted. You thought the world would bend to you, that maybe if you just stayed nice, polite, patient, things would just work out. They don't. This world isn't built for the passive. It doesn't reward softness, it devours it. You ever walk through a graveyard? Every tombstone is a story that ended too soon. A dream that never left the mind. A fire that never became flame. A voice that never got loud enough to be heard. The graveyard is full of people who stayed soft. They were going to start, going to build, going to speak, going to fight. But weakness whispered louder. And now? Silence. That's the cost of hesitation, of living on your knees, of saying maybe next year one too many times. You want legacy? Then you'd better kill that weak voice inside you before it becomes your tombstone inscription. Because if you don't rise now, you will be replaced. Someone hungrier, someone angrier, someone who took the same pain and made it into armor instead of excuses. They will take everything you thought was yours. You think that job will wait for you? That dream partner? That moment? That breakthrough? It won't. They're not sitting still. They're moving. They're building. They're taking shots you're too scared to aim at. And when you finally look up from your comfort bubble, it'll all be gone. Here's what you need to understand. The consequence of staying weak isn't just missing out. It's watching someone else live the life that should have been yours. They'll wear your success, drive your dream, speak your words, stand where you were meant to, and it'll eat you alive. Because you'll know it could have been you. It should have been you. But instead of bleeding for it, you hesitated. You want to talk about pain? Let me give you the ultimate pain. Waking up at 60, looking back at a life you never lived. Not because you weren't capable, but because you were soft. You let the weight break you. You let people define you. You let fear freeze you. And now your story? Just another whisper in the wind. Another, what if? That is the consequence of weakness. It's not a slap. It's a slow suffocation. It's not loud. It's a quiet scream inside your chest that never stops. But here's the thing. That doesn't have to be you. You're not dead. Not yet. But if you don't flip this switch, if you don't get savage with your own softness, you might as well be. Because every second you delay, your enemies get closer. Not just people, circumstances, time, failure, regret. They're coming. They're closing in. And the only thing that will keep them from swallowing you whole is your fight. Your absolute refusal to stay down. Your violent rejection of average. Your full, unapologetic commitment to war mode. This is your moment of reckoning. Because weakness doesn't wait for your permission to destroy you. It's already working. Every time you choose comfort over effort, it's winning. Every time you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, it's feeding. So kill it. Right now. Because if you don't, you're not just losing, you're vanishing. This is it. This is the part where the scared ones leave, where the soft ones run back to safety. But you're still here, why? Because something in you is changing. You feel it, don't you? That pressure in your chest, that twitch in your fists, that's not anxiety. That's your rage waking up. That's your warrior being born. The old version of you, the one who made excuses, who feared opinions, who begged for validation, he's dead. You don't need a funeral. You need vengeance. Because now you rise. Not politely, not quietly, not for anyone's approval. You rise like thunder with a grudge. You've bled. You've been laughed at. You've been underestimated, doubted, mocked, betrayed. And they thought you'd stay buried? They have no idea what they created. This isn't revenge. It's resurrection. You're not coming back the same. You're coming back ruthless. And you're not just here to survive. You're here to dominate. You thought pain would break you? Pain is your fuel. You eat it. You lift with it. You wake up with it taped to your fists and swing back harder. Let me be clear. Nobody is coming to save you. Not God, not fate, not some lucky break. God already gave you life. He gave you the storm. Now he's waiting to see if you'll ride it or drown. Get up, not halfway, all the way. Stand like a savage. Look life dead in the eye and tell it. You should have killed me when I was weak, because now I'm fire wrapped in flesh. Everything they said you couldn't do, do it louder. Do it bigger. Do it with scars showing. You don't hide your pain anymore, you weaponize it. You sharpen it into teeth and bite back at everything that tried to consume you. This is war, and you are finally dressed for battle. No more asking permission, no more second guessing, no more shrinking. You expand, you explode, you execute. You're not here to blend in. You're here to burn so bright the world chokes on your glow. Start moving like it. Start waking up like it. Stop needing motivation. Start becoming motivation. Because you didn't survive hell to tiptoe into your purpose. You survived hell to storm the gates with a roar. You're not made for average. You're not made for comfort. You're not made to try. You're made to conquer. You're made to bleed for what you believe in. You're made to win or die swinging. This is where everything changes. Not next week. Not next month. Now. Because once you truly rise, once you taste what it feels like to take control, you will never go back. You'll hate comfort. You'll crave pressure. You'll chase the war. Because war is the only place you feel alive now. You'll start leading. You'll start breaking ceilings. You'll stop asking, can I go wee wang, and start declaring, watch me. And every person that counted you out, they won't just regret it. They'll remember your name when it echoes. across their failures. Let them laugh, let them doubt, let them sleep, while you rise, while you grind, while you become the beast you were always meant to be. Let them keep their soft lives. You were never one of them. You were born for war, built to rise from ruins, engineered by God to terrify mediocrity. So take your scars, take your darkness, take your demons, and forge your empire with them. Because the most dangerous man in the world is the one who's been broken and decided never to be broken again. You're that man now. This is the moment you go full war mode. No more delay, no more softness. This is your rise. Not the pretty kind, the bloody one, the violent one, the unstoppable one. So let them remember what happens when you try to bury a warrior too soon. He doesn't just return, he returns as a storm, with God behind him and vengeance in his veins. You don't wait anymore, you charge. This is it. The line has been drawn. No more build-up, no more backstory. This is the final order. You don't need another speech. You need a command that detonates your doubt. You need a voice that doesn't ask you to rise, it demands it. Because if you've made it this far, if you've survived the fire, if you've heard the roar echoing through your chest and didn't flinch, then you are ready. Ready to become what they feared. Ready to become what God was forging in silence. Ready to own every inch of the battlefield. So hear this. You don't need more motivation. You need a mission, a non-negotiable purpose, a vow that does not break, does not bend, does not fade when the mood shifts. Get off your knees. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready, and now rip the leash off. Tear the limits out of your soul. Burn every excuse at the altar of your potential. Because this isn't about trying. This isn't about seeing what happens. This is about deciding who the hell you are. So here's the command. Go build the body that haunts your enemies. Go speak the words that shatter silence. Go chase the life that mocks your fear. Go claim the throne built from every damn rejection you ever took. You're not waiting on a sign. You are the sign. You're not following a path. You're cutting one through concrete. You're not asking life to give you space. You're taking it like a soldier storms a city, with fire and precision. And when they look at you, when they whisper about the shift, the transformation, the glow-up they never saw coming, let them wonder, let them burn. You don't owe them your story. You owe them the impact. You don't need applause. You need results. And you don't stop until they choke on your silence, because the version of you they tried to bury now commands the storm. You don't sleep on your potential anymore. You don't bow to insecurity. You don't submit to the chains of comfort. You break them. You shatter them. You burn every piece of them. Because God didn't raise you up like thunder just to whisper. He raised you to shake the earth. So go. Command your life like a battlefield. Move like a savage with a destiny. Speak like your voice is made of prophecy. And strike like hell regrets waking you up. No more waiting. No more planning. No more fear. Just war. Just motion. Just absolute, violent, divine evolution. Now go. Take the crown they said you'd never wear. Break the gate they said you'd never cross. Become the beast they swore you'd never be. And never look back.